Hello, hello, hello again. Hello to you, beautiful family all over the world, wherever you always join us from. To this beautiful Thursday, another blessed Thursday, another opportunity to get together and to have conversation about what we're always discussing, always talking about, always deliberating on, which is simply the power of our common humanity and how much we as human beings are blessed. We are super, super, super blessed. Blessed and endowed by our Creator to be the only species who can determine outcomes of transformational change, and to make these outcomes happen. That puts us in a category of our own. That puts us in a class of our own. Of course, there are several living entities, living beings. There's the animal kingdom and so on and so forth. There's the plant kingdom, the vegetation kingdom, which all have some form of life. But then as human beings, we are at the top and at the apex of all living things, living creations, living beings, if you like, living entities with life. And not only are we at the apex, just because we are, this special species, but we are the apex of all of life, because of this uniqueness endowed and bequeathed to us, bestowed on us, which is the ability to determine outcomes and to make the outcomes happen. By that, what I mean is, we as human beings are the only species who can determine the state of our societies, the state of our nations, the state of our countries, the state of our families, our homes, in fact, the state of our personal lives. Only you can do that. The animal species can do some things independently, can determine some outcomes and so on and so forth, but it is not the same at all when you compare any other life to human life and to human beings. So therefore, this calls for conversation, this calls for discussion, this calls for us to engage this great, beautiful species called human beings, which is you and I, and to examine and to interrogate and to look into why we are, the way we are, why the Creator has made us as unique as we are. Not only that, but to take full advantage, therefore, of this profound capability to determine change and to make this transformational change happen, and to put it to use, put it to work, and to make it happen. What it means, therefore, is that our societies, our countries, our nations will experience transformational change, immense transformational change, immense transformational change. Why? Because we are the only empowered species to do so, determine and make it happen. And for me, every Thursday, therefore, coming your way for us to engage in this theme, in this conversation, is most exciting because then we can talk about us and engage in these conversations about us, and find more and more and more, find out more and more and more how to put these capabilities to use, so that our lot and life for us as human beings will really also be within our power, be within our space to determine its quality and how it should be. What it also means, therefore, if all of this is true, then it means we have no excuse. We have no excuse to live in depravity, to be buried in depravity, to wallow in averageness. Why? Because the power, the profound power to rise out of averageness and to rise out of mediocrity and to rise out of depravity and to rise out of decadence, to rise out of, and as it were, rise over and above anything that is less than who we are and what we were born to be, anything that the capability and the power to make that happen is within us, We are blessed and endowed by our Creator with all of this wonder, and that's why we engage in these conversations the way we do. That's the whole point. That's what we're driven by. We are the Global Change Makers Africa, and what it just means is that Africa is a special focus for us because this is where we live. Of course, the entire global stage is, our desired reach, and this is where we intend to, as it were, extend our voices to and extend the conversations to, so that all across the Arab world, the Americas, the Europes, and the entire, the Asias, the entire face of the earth, we desire to engage and involve in these conversations. Wherever there are human beings, our invitation is for all of you to join us and to be part of this conversation. This most important conversation that tells us that there's nothing that's beyond our reach, we cannot change, whose destiny we cannot determine and make to happen, because this is who we are. This is how blessed we are. Really, it should be, the destination. This should be the destination of this kind of desire. That should, as it were, that we should have. Now, desire, still on the definitions, desire derives from the Latin desiderare, to long or wish for. The word itself derives from desidere, from the stars, suggesting that the original sense is to await for what the stars will bring. If you put all these elements together, all these thoughts, I believe desire conjures the pictures of having a strong longing for what is over and above you, higher than you, bigger than you, because the stars are over and above you. The stars are way out there, in the galaxy. The stars, in terms of the reach, are way, way over and above. So therefore, the desire for the nominal, just the average, the desire just for, as it were, just the small thinking, small mind, as they say, small stuff, is not really what constitutes the novelty of desire. If we really want to talk about desire, in its great sense, the way we should be looking at desire. Of course, we can minimize and lower, the standards of desire to what is minimal, what is low, what is degrading, what is even, if you like, not very worthy. However, if we are going to engage the discourse and the conversation about desire and keep desire where it really should be in terms of our context as well, what we seek to do with desire, then it should be desire that is placed within the context of the definition that conjures visionary qualities, visionary attributes, visionary traits of this meaning of this word desire. So therefore, we are desiring for greater things. We're desiring for bigger things. We're desiring for serious things that will transform our world and transform life and change our world and make this world a better place. As we've said before in the past, in some of the different themes we talked about and discussed, the different themes, the different subjects we engaged, we talked about why it is important for us to have this mindset that aims and talks and discusses the big things, the big ideas that transform the world. This is because what has significantly transformed our world and made it the world it is today, particularly if we discuss the digital space. What has changed our world are the big ideas of the digital revolution, the big ideas of the digital space, the big ideas that has really, as we all know, literally changed our world, changed life, significantly changed our lives. I'm sitting in another country, engaging in this conversation, hopefully with you also posting your comments and so on and so forth, from all over the world, wherever you are listening and sharing in this conversation. Now, how is all of this possible? It is because people dared to keep the desire of dreaming big ideas, dreaming the big things, the big stuff, the big themes, the big topics. They refused to lower desire only to the very minimal, nominal, basic material, food and what we'll eat and all of that. As important as all of that is, these individuals who have become significant change makers for us and for our world, they kept the combustion of desire, the powerhouse of desire, they kept it situated on the big thinking, the big ideas, the big perspectives. And that's how come our world is what it is today. So, as we progress and move on, we are saying that desire really is at the center of life. There's no movement of life without desire. And so as we close in this year 2022, as we get ourselves ready to venture and to get into this unknown called 2023, we can have hope, great hope for a great 2023, not because we left this expectation for for greatness to chance and left it to happen by itself, because nothing really just happens by itself. No, we can be hopeful, extremely hopeful, of the rest of the years, the rest of the days, really, weeks left as we wind down. And as we get into this new year, we can be so hopeful. Why? Because we have kept desire alive. Desire is fueled by hope. Desire is also itself the fuel of hope, the engine of hope, the driver of hope. And so I want to make this point so clear, crystal clear, and say it over again, the power of desire. As we close out the year, let's go back for desire. Let's rekindle desire. Let's refire desire. Let's go back and look for desire, the things we desire, the things we used to desire. Yes, desire of hope and the hopes, of our desire, the desires of our hopes and the hopes of our desires. The things we desired were all dashed and as it were, we lost them. But guess what? We can get them back again. We can be fired up, fired back, refired again when it comes to desire. Now, let me read this slide. Life does not give you what you deserve. It will only give you what you demand. This is why you must have desire. So again, if you graduate the conversation and step it up and lift it up to the levels where we are now talking transformational change in life, and we are now talking life not in the context of luck, because really and truly there is nothing like luck. Life is intentional, life is deliberate, life has to happen, and life will happen the way you and I make it happen. Of course, as we've said, and as we always say, life happens. That means there are things in this life you cannot really avoid. I mean, they come and they happen and they go away without, announcing, without asking your permission, my permission. It just comes. That's what we mean when we say life happens. However, the most of life does not just happen, cannot just happen if we are deliberate about where it should go, how it should go, and what should really be happening with life in terms of its quality and in terms of the hopes and aspirations and the promise of life. But guess what? It is all going to happen on the back of this theme of desire. Desire is at the base. Desire is at the bottom of all feeling. That's our second bullet on this slide. Before we can love or hate, there must be desire. Before we can have ambition or aspiration, there must be desire. Before we can manifest courage and energy, there must be desire. Desire for something must underlie all of life and all of life action. That's just so profound. If there's anything you forget, please don't forget this one, that everything about life is undergirded with desire. It means you take desire away, you've taken life away. Life is indeed the basic fabric. In other words, desire is the basic fabric of life. Life is like the finished product, the finished woven fabric that's sewn into the dress or into the clothes or into whatever you want to picture, having been made out of the fabric. But then the basic fabric, the basic material, the fundamental material that made the fabric, that makes the fabric, that made the fabric, the material, is called desire. Desire is that without which there is no life. I feel like reading this again. Desire is at the bottom of all feeling. Before we can love or hate, there must be desire. It means loving or hating is not possible without desire. Before we can have ambition or aspiration, there must be desire. Before we can manifest courage and energy, there must be desire. And as you know, ambition, aspiration, the courage to pursue ambition or desire, to courage to pursue ambition and aspiration, which is really life, and the energy to drive yourself along. All of this has to begin with desire. At the base has to be desire. And he says desire for something or anything must underlie all of life action. Even when you get up in bed, I don't know if you've been there before, but I know everybody's been there before, where, it's almost like you wish to get out of bed, but for whatever reason, you feel tired, you feel lazy, you feel like, man, I hate today of all days because I don't want to get out of bed. I know everybody's familiar with this, experience of life. You've been there before. But guess what? Around this feeling of not wanting to get out of bed is the life that's waiting for you, the bills that must be paid, the things that must be done, the tasks that must be accomplished and fulfilled, and all of that must be done, which will not wait. And so what happens? You step up the gas of your desire. You lift desire to the next levels of yearning and then zeal, and that pushes you out of bed. And then you go and tackle the business of the day, your business of the day, and do the things you must do. So all of this would not have been possible, is not possible, is never ever possible without desire being the foundation, the first building bricks, the first building blocks. So life is going to be what you and I want it to be. That control, that power to make it happen, the Creator blessed us with it. He gave it to us. He endowed us with it. He put it within us as software. But guess what? The desire, the concept of desire, the power of desire is at the wheels, is at the helm, is at the core of the engine that drives us to achieve these things. My question to you is, what is your desire? Do you have any desire? Are the desires dead because things came against you? All manner of things came at you. The desire to love again, the desire to live again, the desire to dream again, the desire, all of these, even if they used to be strong, you used to entertain them and embrace them in your life, what we're saying is that if we can get back to desiring them again, if desire can be put in place again, it's almost like putting wheels underneath a car. So once the wheels are put in place, or as we say, the tires are put in place, guess what? The car will be ready to move. So long as the tires have been inflated well with the right amount of pressure, the vehicle will move. It's the same as desire. Once desire is in place, guess what? We will move. Faith will move. Hope will move. Vision will move. Life will move. Things will happen. It's all about desire. It's not so much that we form desires, but that desires forms in us. And that's a very important point. So we just don't form desire. We should also allow desire to form in us. In other words, the desire, the yearning to be the best version of yourself, and the yearning for you to be the global change maker, which we all so daringly attempt to label ourselves with and call ourselves with and say, guess what? Each one of us in our common humanity, we're all endowed, we're all blessed with the software, the capability, the power to engage this life and to make a difference and to make a change. And you and I can. We can do this. We definitely can do this. So therefore, we can form the desires for those things, but then those desires, we must also allow those desires to form in us. People who have a strong desire to achieve a goal are more likely to take action and persevere in the face of obstacles. So that's the other graduation, that's the other level of desire that we so very importantly want to talk about. Desire. But strong desire, not passive desire, desire that is yearning, desire that, if you like, is becomes zealous, desire that is stronger, not passive, desire that drives you into action. That's the kind of desire we're talking about. To close this year with, to close the rest of the year with, the next 3 weeks with, the next 3 Thursdays with, the next 3 weeks plus, and a couple of days with. As we close out 2022, as we close out this year, the thing we want to put back in place is the desire that is intense, that drives us to take action and to persevere in the face of obstacles. So it means we are not, just talking about any kind of desire. It cannot be weak desire. It cannot be quiet desire. It cannot be simple desire. It cannot be just some, desire that's lying quiet, just hoping that something will happen. It's not desire that is waiting for something to happen. No. As they say, there are 3 groups of people: those who watch things happen, those who ask what happened, and those who make things happen. We're not talking about desire that just sits to watch things happen. We're not talking about desire that just sits to ask what happened. We're talking about desire that drives you to be one of those who make things happen. That is what you and I are being challenged and inspired to go back for, put back in our hearts and put back in our lives. Even though the power of desire can be so strong, the strongest of desire will still have to precipitate into action for desire to be an invaluable asset. And that's what we just said. So long as desire remains at the table, wishing and wanting and yearning and even being zealous, without desire taking the next step into action, action, action. Desire alone is still not quite an asset. As important as desire is the beginning of the value chain of assets. In other words, desire, then action, then staying and persevering the course through all the rest of that journey, that trajectory, until the desire or that concept, that vision, the desire to pursue that vision, that dream becomes a reality, an entity. What we're saying is, until we've traveled through that long haul, if we just wait at desire and just stop at desire and just sit at desire, it's still not the valuable asset. That invaluable asset that desire should be. Desire has to move us into action. So what actions are we taking in these last 3 weeks of the year? What actions do you plan to take? We plan to take stock as GCMA. We plan to take a look at the way we've done things. We plan to look at life differently, both for ourselves as individuals and then as a group and as a people. We plan to look at GCMA and how we come to you and hopefully make some major changes 2023 and not come to you the same way, same monologue, conversation, but look at our technology and look at everything the way we've done it. These are things we seek to do, and guess what? We are literally taking concrete action. We're writing them down, we're having conversations, we're having discussions, and we're pursuing the realization of these things that we are taking action to write down, to note down, to identify, and to make sure they happen. So one of the things we desire to do is to upgrade the equipments we use to reach you across the nations where you are. Now, if it just remains a desire and a wish, it is not an asset. It's just a waste of resource. But then, if it moves from desire, where now we have the actual equipment sitting down, then it has moved from desire to action. And that's what we are encouraging you to do. Let's put back desire in place, the power of desire, but let desire travel from the stage of desire to the next stage called action. The concept of desire believes that desire can contribute to your happiness as a person, irrespective of the amount of pleasure or displeasure you might experience or pass through to get what you want. And so, this is what it means. It means that desire can make a difference in your life. Desire is what will make the difference in our lives. Desire to stand is what makes somebody to stand, while the non-desire to stand is what makes another person fall and lie down and never get up again and give up hope. Desire to live, desire to live, desire to live is what makes one person stay on the hospital bed and determine, I'm not going to die. I'm going to live through this thing. I'm going to beat this. And they beat it. They beat whatever it is. I was chatting with a friend of mine, and a very beloved, dear brother. I call him brother because really he is brother, in every sense of the word. And he went through some terrible ordeals between cancer and stroke, and it's been just one thing after the other and all of that. And he's a man of faith as well, who is, who practices the Christian faith. And as we had conversation, as much as he attributed his bouncing back from death, near death and sickness and disease to life, as much as he attributed, a huge amount of that to his faith, he also attributes that to just more than his faith. He attributes it to the sheer power to live, just the sheer power to live. And we're going to talk about that in the next segments. How do you generate desire? How do you, as it were, protect your desire, preserve your desire? And I can tell you that right now. One of the ways to ginger your desire is to watch the people, the company you keep, the people you're surrounded with. There are some people who never speak one word of hope, never speak one word of encouragement. They will kill your hope, they'll kill your desire, they'll kill your desire to live, they'll tell you better give up, they'll tell you this is not good, they'll tell you this cannot be. They would give you every reason why it will not work and not give you one reason why it's possible. You need to cut yourself, like they say, cut them loose. Cut them loose. You need to cut them loose, cut them loose. It doesn't matter who they are. Why? Because your company, the people you keep around you, and what they speak into your soul is critical for desire to live, either to be alive or to be dead. So your desire, and this friend of mine who spoke, and we spoke for, quite a bit of time, and as I listened to him and listened to his journey, the story of his journey, I just told myself, wow, this is some kind of faith, this is some kind of hope, and the power of hope and the power of desire to live. Now, if you are surrounded by inspirers and encouragers and people of courage, I guarantee you, more often than not, your desire will take you to the destination of life and health and liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and you'll get there. So, as we wind up the year, this is how we must position ourselves. This is precisely why it becomes even more important for us to choose our desires wisely. The right desire will make our lives, the wrong ones will totally shatter and destroy us. So we cannot be filled with the desire to hate somebody, the desire not to forgive, the desire to be just troubled, the desire to just allow yourself. Just not too long ago, I think a few days ago, I was in a meeting, kind of, a religious meeting, because some of the times I'm in these, religious meetings, and there was this priest who was, encouraging, bringing, these words of encouragement, and he spoke about peace of mind from the Christian Bible. Again, I don't know where it is situated in the Quran or in the the Jewish Bible or in any of the other faiths, but at least being familiar with the Christian Bible, he spoke from that standpoint, from that perspective, and really everybody there listening could relate it to life, just life. You could really just extrapolate the religion out of it, and you would find principles of life that do augur for life and augur well for life. And as I listened to him explain peace of mind, he described the mind as a frame, picture frame, like a picture frame. And as he used the analogy of a picture frame, some of the things he said, which was for me a great blessing, and they were really profound and instructive and educative, which is what I want to share with you, in connection with if you like, the picture frame of our desires and all kinds of desires that can come in or go out. He spoke to peace of mind as a picture frame, as I said, and then he made a statement. He said, peace of mind is not just passive. In other words, peace of mind, your mind is like a frame, and only you have the power, just like a picture restricts the view of a picture. I mean, the frame, restricts the view of the picture. The frame is at the borderline of the picture, so that you would be able to focus on the picture. Any other thing else outside the frame has no place, no space, cannot even come, into the frame. He said, this is how peace of mind is. You have the power to allow or disallow what comes into your ecosystem, your space, to either disturb you, steal your peace, take away your peace, or to destroy your peace. It's the same with desire. you choose your desires. You literally determine your desires. Desires that can destroy, you decide whether to allow them in or decide to disallow them in. Desires that will build you up, you decide whether to allow them in or not. And so, again, the desire to hate, the desire to, I mean, there are people who hate and can hate for life, literally. There are people who hate people and have hated people for life. Now, that kind of desire, that kind of negative energy is not what we're talking about, because eventually you will be destroyed by those negative desires, negative energies. So what are we saying? As we close the year, yes, we're talking about the power of desires, but it is the power of positive desires, the power of healthy desires, the power of desires that will, as it were, engage you and build you up. We will have to take this up again and start it from talk about the importance of desire, which we're going to do, and we'll put it out there in just one more session. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time and for sharing your time with us, and for coming in to be part of our conversation, this conversation. Remember, your desire is your asset. That's your property. That's your space. That's you. It can never and should never be outsourced and should never be tampered with. You are in control of your desire. You must carve your desire, craft your desire, determine your desire. Your desire should be way above the basic nominal material things. It should be way above from the Latin etymology of it. I hope you got something in terms of the definition of it. Desire should be, as the Desidere, describes it, looking out. With expectation from the stars, looking out for what the stars will bring. In other words, the stars and beyond the stars should really be where the reach of your vision should be where our desire should be. And I hope and pray that whatever has happened to your desire, you will go back for it. Let's desire to dream again. Let's desire the things that will make us the better versions of ourselves again. Let's desire to be the game changers, change makers, the difference makers we were born to be, because you and I, in our common humanity, we have been endowed by our Creator with the power to make a difference, and we can make this difference, but everything starts with desire. Thank you so much. Have a blessed week as we get ourselves ready to enjoy the festives, seasons. Please take good care of yourselves. Drive safe. Take it really easy. Just guard your life, and let's all be very careful as we get into this new year safely. Many blessings, and have a good night.